He didn't say that, and if he did, he didn't mean it, and if he did, it's not illegal, and if it is, everyone's doing it, and if they're not, she did something way worse.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I spent a good portion of my day today hunting down new clips, and luckily for you guys, the majority of you guys state that you actually like the whining liberal men videos quite a bit. Most of you claim that you actually prefer them over the videos with the women, and luckily for you guys, the liberal men really came out to play. I found a lot of clips of liberal men today. So, we are doing another episode of Whining Liberal Men. Let's get into it.
Anytime you confront a Trump supporter about anything he did and they get backed into a corner, their first response is, "But what about Biden?" My 7-year-olds do the exact same thing. Every time my daughter's hand is caught in the cookie jar, she says, "But my brother. You know, you have to teach personal responsibility. And I say, it doesn't matter what your brother did because we're talking about you. I will address that at a later date, but we need to talk about you stealing out of the cookie jar. Just because he's done whatever doesn't make it right for you to. So remember, every time you say, "But what about Biden?" that just shows up you have the mental capacity of a 7-year-old.
Hi everybody, just a quick reminder, if they're trying to cut Medicaid, and they are trying to cut the National Weather Service, and they are trying to cut air traffic controllers and make it harder for them to do their work safely, and they're trying to cut food and water standards, and they're trying to eliminate the EPA, and they're trying to make it harder for you to get food stamps, and they're trying to make it harder for kids to go to school, then you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to kill everybody who's not rich.
Okay, that was a good prank. Can we please get the richest man in the world who wasn't even born in the U.S. out of the United States government? Awesome. Thanks.
If you're a straight man and you voted for Kamala, can you just use this sound and restore some of my faith in humanity? That would really mean a lot to me. Thanks.
Okay, I need you to use your listening ears for a second. If only citizens have the right to due process, then nobody has the right to due process, because all it would take is for them to simply say, "You're not a citizen and you don't have due process with which to prove them wrong." So again, if only citizens have the right to due process, then nobody has the right to due process.
So Donald Trump took to Truth Social and he is pissed. Oh my gosh. Who allowed Canada to control this electricity in the United States? Oh my gosh. Who could have done it? Let's look at this. Why would our country allow another country to supply us with electricity, even for a small area? Oh my gosh. Wait a second. Can you imagine Canada stooping so low as to use this? And he ends this with, who did this? Who could possibly have done such a horrendous thing? Who do you think it was? Who did it? Who signed the deal? I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. It was Trump himself. Trump himself. Take a look. In 2020, it was him. And he was bragging about it at that time, how wonderful it was going to be. And he doesn't even remember that it was him. And now he's railing about the deal that he made.
Why are liberals just so incredibly dishonest? He's referring to the electricity that Canada supplies out to the United States, and it's a very small portion of it. Now, yes, Trump did in 2020 sign that deal. That was for the USMCA. He was maintaining what was already in place. Trump did not create this deal. He's trying to make it look like, hey, Trump made this deal in 2020 and he already forgot, because we obviously have to question his cognitive abilities, right? Well, with just a little bit of research, we can actually find out, when did Canada actually start supplying electricity to those portions of the United States. And that actually started in 1901. I don't think Donald Trump was around back then, and he most certainly wasn't president back then. However, it actually had nothing to do with federal power. This deal between Canada and the United States for electricity coming from Canada was done commercially. The first president to actually ever sign off on this deal was actually Eisenhower in 1961. So this has been around quite a while. This is something that Trump was just maintaining. This is obviously not what Trump meant when he put out that Truth Social. He wasn't asking literally what president started this. He would obviously know because it was actually a Republican president. It was signed off again by Reagan, I think in 1988, H.W. Bush, I believe it was 92. There was 2 Democrat presidents that actually signed off on this as well to keep it going. So everybody's taken part in this. Was this ever an issue until as of late? Absolutely not. Canada's never tried to use this electricity as leverage in the past. They were actually just trying to use it as leverage during this tariff war, and that got squashed after one day, so that's no longer an issue. You'll notice what this guy's trying to do as well. He's trying to make it look like this deal back in 2020 was just all about Canada supplying energy to the United States, but no, it wasn't. It was the USMCA deal. This is just part of it. This all has to do with trade between Canada and the United States, as well as the United States with Mexico. That's what Trump was talking about. That was a great deal. But of course, liberals just got to keep being dishonest.
He didn't personally accept $2 billion in cryptocurrency from other countries, and if he did, they were allies. And if they weren't, it was still for the greater good. And if it wasn't, he still had to because of something the last guy did.
Positive energy surge! Positive energy surge! If you need it, take it! Positive energy surge!
I just told my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, you're getting a little pudgy, don't be eating so, and she goes, don't take your insecurities out on me. And I have never been so called out in my fucking life.
So, like, when I was a guy, I always had to work out and do cardio and have abs. And, like, I was always pretty fit. But now that I'm a woman, I don't know why, but I feel like I can just gain weight. And, like, maybe it's because I know a lot of women my age that are just a little bit thick, and I'm not trying to say all women are thick or anything like that, but I want to be thick. Like, I feel like it would be nice to have an ass and, like, be a little chunky. Plus, I can eat. Like, it makes it so I can eat. My doctor was like, you need to gain some weight if you want to have boobs and a butt, and I was like, okay. I can do that.
8647. Because somebody should have 86 his orange lard S when he was 45. Fuck Trump.
Well, as you may recall, on Friday I made the sterling prediction that we were all about to experience a 48-hour DEFCON 5 level temper tantrum from the tangerine toddler himself. And as I'm starting to get tired of saying, I was fucking right. So let me give you the rundown. He started off by crying about Walmart raising prices due to his tariffs, saying that they needed to eat the costs. Well, what's the problem, Donnie? I thought the other countries paid the tariffs. There shouldn't be any cost to eat. Could it be that you actually don't know diddly fuck about economics and you're worried that your addle-brain supporters are going to do the first semi-smart thing in their life and put 2 and 2 together to realize that everything at Wally World is more expensive because of your persistent inability to read a fucking book? Because that sounds about right to me. He continued his bullshit tirade by attacking the Supreme Court, saying that they're not allowing him to do what he was elected to do. No, you treasonous fucking toddler. They're not allowing you to violate the Constitution. If you don't like that, go sit in the corner and fucking cry about it. What would a weekend in Trumpville be without some AI-generated slop? Because he posted a long-ass video of himself singing Don't Stop Believing by Journey, complete with long, flowing golden locks. Could you be any more crystal clear, you geriatric shit stain? You start the weekend off by ranting about Taylor Swift, and this is how you end it? You're just jealous that what comes out of her mouth is auditory gold, and what comes out of yours is slurred speech, bullshit, and lies. Get fucked, Donald.
More vulgarity and lies coming from the left once again. It's been a little while since we put this guy on the channel. It's been a little while since we actually spoke on him because I prefer not to speak on him. He's one of those type of guys that you just want to verbally slap around. He seems to be very skilled when it comes to curse words. I will give him that. He actually is kind of even humorous at times, although I don't find so much in this video. Again, all lies. Donald Trump is not violating the Constitution. I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump actually knows what he's doing economically. Reasons being is even despite the fact that there is tariffs, and yeah, sure, even if Walmart is going to pass down some prices and actually charge a little bit extra for items, yeah, that kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, people have more money in their pocket. Grocery stores are actually cheaper now. I'm seeing people, somebody actually even in the comments just said they got eggs for $3.99. That's actually a lot better. Still not as cheap as Canada. We still got you guys on eggs. Gas, I hear you guys are doing pretty well. We've sucked out here for quite a while now when it comes to gas. You guys would actually be kind of shocked how much we pay around my house. More importantly, your borders are now closed and safe. This is something that liberals seem to take for granted. They didn't seem to think that there was actually any form of a problem with the border walls being wide open. Trump is putting in his best efforts and what he actually ran on for mass deportations of illegal migrants. However, activist judges just keep getting in his way. And further proof that Trump actually does know what he's doing economically, my country, Canada, has lowered their tariffs on the United States to almost zero. Trump just made a Middle East trip and he's, from what I heard today, $5.1 trillion are going to be injected into the United States economy. And then you guys want to talk about inflation. As of today, it's down to 2.3%. Biden had up to 9 at one point, but we'll be fair. His average over the 4 years was 4.95%. Trump is winning. Trump is getting the job done. Everybody on the right can see it. How come people on the left just can't? Or can they, but they just won't admit it?
It is not a crime to be undocumented in America. Let me say it again. It's not a crime to be undocumented in America. It is a civil violation, but if a civil violation was enough to get you deported, parking tickets, jaywalking, oops, I forgot to show up to court, not going to jury duty, those are all civil violations. A lot of y'all would be a hell of a lot more upset at real Americans for doing some dumb shit that they do constantly. So, let's just put that fact out there. Not a crime. Thank you. Have a great day.
Men need to listen, and women need to dance. They need to dance. They have to dance. Gay people need to fight.
I'm starting to suspect that the only right this administration could take away that would actually make people get off their ass and do something is the right to drink alcohol.
If you defend the IDF, Israel, ICE, or landlords, you're an asshole, and I fucking hate your guts. I don't speak for everybody else, but I'd take a pretty good bet. I'd put good money on everyone in your immediate life who knows you hating you. Like outside of maybe your immediate family who may have weird obligations that entrap them in your presence. I'd put good money on everybody hating your guts. Hating your fucking insufferable guts. From balls to bones, they hate your fucking guts just as much as I do. And you're going to die in hospice care, alone, miserable, and probably suffering from dementia. Eat shit.
I don't even like Joe Biden that much, but I pray to God that if I serve this country for 40 years in an elected capacity, that the same day I receive a diagnosis for an aggressive form of cancer, somebody doesn't also publish a book about my mental decline. It is completely shameful how we are treating the former president who led us out of the largest period of inflation this country has ever seen. Joe Biden led this country through seven quarters of GDP growth and the largest stock market increase this country has ever seen. Meanwhile, our current president is allowing this country to be led by techno bros and also has seen the stock market tank and our economy crater because of his tariff plans and cutting taxes to his billionaire friends. Joe Biden deserves legitimate criticism for a lot of his Senate track record and for a lot of his leadership. But while he was the U.S. president, he led this country to more economic prosperity than we have ever seen. And right now, he deserves our prayers and he deserves our support because a diagnosis of an aggressive form of cancer is something that we all should universally relate to. He is a father, he is a husband, he is a grandfather, and he was the U.S. president who led us into economic prosperity. And so he deserves our prayers and our support right now. And if you are not praying and supporting for somebody who just received a cancer diagnosis, ask yourself why. Because cancer sucks. Cancer always sucks. That's why we should have a president who is funding cancer research. Because cancer sucks, and we need to continue to support people who are going through cancer. And you can do that by praying for Joe Biden.
So he's referring to Jake Tapper publishing that book about Biden's mental decline. Did Jake Tapper know that Biden was going to be diagnosed with cancer? No, he did not. Has this book already been in the works for a while? Yes, it has. Does he have every right to publish this book about a president that actually had mental decline while he was in office? Yes, he does. Yet, what's more shameful than that is this individual here is actually a priest, and he sits there on TikTok and lies daily. Biden did not lead the country out of economic crisis. Biden did not flatten inflation. Biden's job growth was fraudulent as well. Wasn't there over 900,000 jobs that were actually fabricated just to make the numbers look good? And I believe with the economy, again, this is just my opinion here, YouTube, allegedly, the United States was actually buying their own treasury bonds to keep the United States dollar competitive across the world. He wants to claim that Biden led them out of inflation, when Biden's 4-year term, as I just mentioned in the last segment, was an average of 4.95% inflation. As of today, May 20th, Trump's got it down to 2.3, and it's dropping. Yet, this individual here, who claims to be religious, is sitting there and looking at a camera and directly lying to his audience, claiming that Trump is destroying the economy. And this is a recent clip. This is only posted up in the past day or two, and he still wants to sit there and say that the economy is tanking, and that the stock market is tanking, that Trump is destroying the country. He knows it all to be untrue. I'll say it again, Trump is winning. Now, on a more empathetic note, where he's stating that Biden deserves our prayers and our support, yes, this is absolutely true. On the right, despite the fact that you guys on the left don't want to believe it, we have no ill will towards Joe Biden. Did we like him as a president? Absolutely not. He was god-awful. Worst president in United States history. Does he deserve to be going through what he's going through? Does anybody deserve to be going through what he's going through? Absolutely not. It's terrible, and we honestly do wish him the best. But the truth is, the fact that Biden was diagnosed with terminal cancer is not a reason to pretend that he actually had a successful presidency. He absolutely did not. He did not lead the country to economic prosperity, as this guy wants to sit there and lie through his teeth. So again, one last time to this individual, shame on you. You claim to be a priest, you claim to be a religious man, yet you sit there and you're completely dishonest about reality. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys like this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. If not, if you can like the video, share the video, interact with the video in one way or another, that'll be greatly appreciated. And until then, I shall see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys.
I want to talk about the ultimate plan that Trump and Musk and Project 2025 have for us, ordinary people who aren't billionaires. And I'm not exaggerating when I say the ultimate plan they have for us is for us to die. That plan, having a policy that tries to make sure that people who aren't super rich die or die young, has a name that's been around for almost 200 years: social murder. And if you don't believe me, look at what Doge and Elon Musk did with the National Weather Service. Musk, Doge cut the National Weather Service right before tornado season in the South. And what's happening? People are now experiencing, in Kentucky, soon elsewhere, tornadoes without warning. And in Kentucky, people just died. The GOP is passing a budget basically created by Project 2025 that's going to cut Medicaid to such a degree that over 8 million people are going to lose their health care. What's going to happen? Yeah, people are going to die. Across the board, from workplace safety, food safety, air and water quality, everything's going to be degraded. More people are going to die. You and me. So why are they doing this? Which the Christian right, by the way, is 100% behind. Doesn't sound very Christian or moral to me to let people die. It's because they ardently believe that the role of government exists simply to make wealthy people even wealthier. Regulations and rules that allow you and me to live a little longer, that's not part of their equation. And we know long-term it has never been part of their equation because Americans flat out don't live as long as their counterparts in Western Europe. And in fact, our lifespans have been declining. The goal of Trump and Musk and Project 2025 is to make sure by policy that you and me don't live as long. When we're no longer of use to them as young, able-bodied workers, off we go. So why are people voting for this? Voting for their lives being shorter and shorter every year because the billionaire class has been successful at distracting the working class by saying, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the fact that you're not going to live as long. There are trans playing sports. Worry about that instead. And somehow we've got to wake people up. And that's not being woke. Wake people up to the fact that they have been conned.